there, folks. Welcome to the program. This, of course, is Stinchfield, the podcast. I hope everybody had a fabulous weekend. The Nancy Guthrie case, Savannah Guthrie's mother, today's show host. This is going to take a wild turn. This is my prediction. Investigators are going to come up with a suspect that I believe is going to have known or have been very close to Savannah Guthrie's mother. This, to me, spells out the most possible scenario. Who that person is, I can't tell you right now. But I do believe that law enforcement is getting closer and closer and closer to coming up with a, quote, person of interest or a suspect. Let me explain what law enforcement has done if you haven't been following this case since the weekend. They've taken one of the SUVs. They have searched a septic tank at the home. I'll go through why they would search a septic tank, big manhole cover, opened up and going in and searching. And then they go into the house of Annie Guthrie, Savannah Guthrie's sister, and believe they were doing a search there. Now, that doesn't mean anything about guilt. It only means that they're going in and trying to find clues there. Was there someone that was related to that side of the family? Was there any communication from people? This could mean landscapers, plumbers, people who worked at the house, caretakers, whatever it may be. And God forbid, somebody very, very close, family member, you name it. And so the reason I tell you no suspect has been ruled out, I got this from Dr. Henry Lee. Dr. Henry Lee was the famed criminologist. You may remember him from the OJ case. He said to me when he was the head of the public safety in Connecticut, the Department of Public Safety, he said to me, Grant, everyone is suspect. You are suspect. I am suspect. Until you're ruled out, everyone is a suspect. And that means closest to the victim as well. You've got to go through each individual family member, find an alibi. Where were they? What were they doing? Motivations, not motivations, until you rule out all those people and go to the next level. Oftentimes, the last person to see the individual, they are the first on the list to be ruled out. We know the brother-in-law was last to see her. Not saying that he's a suspect. There's a lot of talk about that. But until police have hard, cold evidence, you can't come out and publicly name someone as a suspect, only that it is clear that in cases like this, family members are most certainly looked at in every single case. So we're going to talk about all of this and why I do believe it's going to take a wild twist. I don't think this was cartel members. I don't think there's some kidnapping group that's out there. I think this is going to be someone close, but it was also well planned out, and I believe they knew the house and knew how to go about doing this. With that, folks, before I get into that, I want to tell you about my friends over at Patriot Mobile. PatriotMobile.com/Grant is the website I want you to go to. This is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. You get to choose what network you want to be on, so you'll always have great service, and you can switch that network if it's not working out for you. You can't do that at the big three cell phone companies. 100% U.S.-based customer service. Switching is so easy. They'll make you a deal to switch over. Plus, it literally takes just minutes to switch with these eSIM cards now. And as I mentioned, 100% U.S.-based customer service. This is a conservative activist organization. It is why they are the official service provider of Stinchfield's Army. I want you to go with Patriot Mobile. Do it today. PatriotMobile.com/Grant. Use that promo code GRANT for a free month of service. All right. Thank you, Patriot Mobile. With that, folks, let's get the show started.
Uncensored and unapologetic. This is Stinchfield. Here's your host, Grant Stinchfield.
All right. Thank you, everybody. So, the case of Savannah Guthrie's missing mother. We know we are fast approaching this deadline Monday evening, tonight, 5 p.m. It's been reported $6 million in Bitcoin. That would make sense from someone in Savannah Guthrie's net worth. I thought she made more than $8 million a year. Now they're saying about $8 million a year. She's been doing this for a while. She should be able to come up with $6 million if she's been diligent about how she saves her money, making that kind of cash every year. So $6 million, not out of the realm of possibility. They want it in Bitcoin, but something strange about this, because there's long gaps between communication between the kidnappers. There's no proof of life that we know of that she is alive. When police tell us they have no suspects, we can't necessarily take them at their word for that. When they tell us they don't have any leads, we can't necessarily take them at their word for that. But this idea that the kidnapper is communicating through TV stations, something's fishy about this. It tells me that they want to throw investigators off the trail. I actually believe whoever killed her was someone very close to her. Who that is, I don't know. I have some speculation as to who it might be, but I'm not going to say it out of respect for the idea that you're innocent until proven guilty, and I'm not going to go down and start naming suspects in my mind. But I will tell you this: everyone is a suspect. Until you are ruled out, everyone is a suspect, and you start ruling out the people closest to the victim. That means family members, people who worked in the house, people who worked near her, friends, potential boyfriends. I don't know if she ever had one. And then you start going down the list. And as those people are ruled out, then you start broadening the circle. And you start coming up with theories. Now, it is interesting that they brought a silver suitcase into the house this weekend. This silver suitcase has Celebrite written on it. Celebrite is a forensic gathering company, which tells me that they were going in and going to digital devices, whether it's computers and cell phones, and they were gathering evidence from family members. Not out of the realm of possibility, not shocking either. First off, you want to see who family was talking to. Is there anything in there that would lead them to believe that somebody was planning something and the person they were talking to may not even have known it? Questions that were asked. Something maybe out of the ordinary, but a brother or a sister or a son-in-law wouldn't even realize it. The investigators looked through that. Then, of course, there's the possibility that somebody close was involved in this, and you're going to look for that until you rule every single person out. They searched the manhole cover. Well, they searched the manhole cover, but it was a septic tank at Nancy Guthrie's home. When you have a septic system and you flush the toilet, it does not go out into the public sewer system. It gets collected in a septic tank. Now, if you were flushing evidence down the toilet, you might think it's going to go out and be washed away forever into a public sewer system. In a septic system, not the case. You can search that septic system, as disgusting as that may be, to see if there is any potential evidence in that septic system. That is what police were doing there. We know they took an SUV. All of this leads me to believe that they're on the trail of somebody very close to Savannah Guthrie's mother. Very close. Now, Savannah Guthrie, they came out with another plea. This was over the weekend. All right, take a listen.
We received your message and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
Now, I can't imagine what this family is going through. And we need to literally pray for them as much as you can possibly pull prayers. Put politics aside, albeit I'm going to show you a little bit about why those on the left need to understand that President Trump is a gracious, gracious man and has the best interest at heart for everyone, even his political foes. I'm going to do that a little bit later. But right now, pray for this family. Mom is valuable, of course. We will pay. But unless you get proof of life, you can't send $6 million off to a Bitcoin account. It could be a fraud. In many respects, I believe the ransom note is fraudulent. I don't think the ransom note is from kidnappers. Because part of me doesn't even believe she was kidnapped. My gut feeling tells me she was murdered. And so, what is the benefit of the murder? I don't know. Are there insurance policies? That has to be looked into. Who would benefit from that? All looked into. Not directing that at this particular family, but just saying when you investigate cases like this, these are the things that people look into. So you've got to investigate that. Now, I'm hesitant to even play this, but Ashley Banfield went on with Ashley Banfield went on here, and she went on with Megyn Kelly, and she's accusatory of a family member. I'm hesitant to play this because I don't like to lay down this kind of blame, but listen to Ashley Banfield.
Early in the investigation, if
Absolutely.
you are taking the daughter of the victim's car, that and a famous daughter's sister, that was another thing that I'm just putting a lot of pieces together.
No, you're right. And the other thing the audience should know, they probably already do know, is you're not some whack reporter. Like, this is your beat. You've been covering crime for 20 years. You're very solid. Your reporting
40.
standards.
38, but who's counting? 38 years this year.
Reporting for many, many years. But your reporting standards are very high. So you understand very well the gravity of reporting something like this. This is not just some slapdash operation. And you trust this source that told you right now he's the prime.
High level.
Yeah.
High level.
Okay. So no, you're right. They wouldn't. And when was it that they seized the car?
Why was it they seized the car?
When?
I don't know the answer to that, but I do know that the FBI, according to Brian Enton, was over at Annie Guthrie's house yesterday for several hours.
All right. So they seized the car from Annie Guthrie's house. She's laying blame on the brother-in-law. I actually believe that's reckless to do in a public setting like this at this point. Because what if he's innocent? What if he's not the suspect? You say a high-ranking source, the highest it gets. What does that mean? The chief? Does that mean the head of the FBI? Does that mean President Trump? I don't know what that means. But you can't go throwing it around that people are suspects. It's kind of reckless in the media. What I'm trying to tell you is that I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that somebody close to her had done this. It's up to police to go find that person before we go naming people in all of this. Now, I'm going to play you a couple more weird things that people are talking about, including the original statement from Savannah Guthrie has some indications that it was copied from Silence of the Lambs, which, you know me, I don't believe in coincidences, so I hate to say could it be a coincidence, but it is odd. I'll play it for you only because everybody's talking about it. And then I've got to cover that little bit of why President Trump is certainly so gracious in all of this. Before we do, though, folks, I want to tell you about my friends over at the Wellness Company. And right now, I would offer up that if you are trying to lose weight, okay, they have a product called Drop. And I urge you to not get on these GLP-1s, the fat shot. Spend the money on these peptide-based drops that they have, the Wellness Company, twc.health/grant, promo code GRANT. This will help you shed pounds, speeds up your metabolism. People are losing weight, especially that awful visceral fat. It's a fabulous product. People rave about it, and I urge you to check it out. Some of the best science has to offer, and that's what the Wellness Company is all about. twc.health/grant, twc.health/grant. Use the promo code GRANT use the promo code GRANT100 for Drop. That's $100 off the Drop product. Grant is the promo code for 10% off everything else, including Ultimate Spike Detox. If you took the vaccine, you want this product. This is imperative. And then, of course, there are the prescription medication kits, ivermectin in here. They have a few different kits. See which one is best for you depending on what you're doing. I think this is a great starter, the blue kit. twc.health/Grant. The most common prescription medications, have them on hand in case of an emergency. You don't have to worry about getting to a doctor. twc.health/Grant. Use that promo code GRANT for 10% off, and Grant 100 for $100 off of the drop product. All right, so again, we've got the 5 p.m. deadline tonight. I think it's not a smart move to send the money. If it's even legit, I don't know how they figure that out. There's a lot of questions now surrounding leadership inside the Pima County Sheriff's Office. The sheriff himself went to a college basketball game, I believe. He took a lot of heat for that. I don't know if I give the sheriff heat for going to a basketball game while all this is going on. I mean, you're the sheriff. People under you are investigating it. One of the hard parts about the Pima County Sheriff's Office is this is not like Los Angeles, where you have 200 homicide detectives, or New York City or Dallas, where you have homicide detectives all over your city. Pima County, you probably have a handful. And right now, the lead homicide detective on this case, I believe, only has 3 years experience. Now, I'm a firm believer that certainly experience matters, but smarts is even more important. You find critical thinkers when it comes to homicide, people able to think outside the box. Those are the people that solve cold cases, and those are the people that solve crimes like this. So I'm not as worried about his only 3 years on the homicide squad rather than I am. They just don't have a lot of resources when it comes to this, and I know the FBI has picked up a lot of slack on all of this. All right, so this was the interesting part. I'm going to play both of these. One is Savannah Guthrie from the original statement, and then the other is a clip from Silence of the Lambs.
She is full of kindness and knowledge. Talk to her and you'll see.
Catherine is very gentle and kind. Talk to her and you'll see.
I don't know, man. That's weird. It wasn't word for word. Talk to her and you'll see. Now, the subconscious could be playing a huge role in this. I don't know what their relationship is with that movie. Everybody has seen Silence of the Lambs. Some people really like it. I haven't seen it in forever. I'm not a guy that watches movies over and over again. Bull Durham, I did. We didn't have cable in college. We had a VHS tape, and the only movie we had was Bull Durham. And my buddy and I, my roommate in college, we had Bull Durham playing all season long, all semester long in college, which that's another story. But maybe that's her subconscious taking over. I don't know, but very weird.
She is full of kindness and knowledge. Talk to her and you'll see.
Catherine is very gentle and kind. Talk to her and you'll see.
Just a bizarre twist as this case continues to get more bizarre and more bizarre and more bizarre. And I think ultimately you're going to see this case get really, really bizarre and shocking when police get to the bottom of this. And I do believe they will solve this crime. There's a lot of people that said, oh, these guys are so good. Whoever took her was such a professional, they're never going to catch them. I don't believe that. I think they will catch them. It might take a little bit. Remember the Idaho murderers, the sorority girls that were living off campus, Brian Kohlberger. It took a couple months, if I remember correctly, before they got evidence that led to Brian Kohlberger. So cops are most certainly on this. Now to President Trump. And hey, by the way, if you're watching, and we're getting great traction now lately, I can't believe on YouTube, God bless all of you there. What do we got? 60 people on YouTube watching. Thank you for that. That's a record number by far. I had been shadow banned on YouTube for a very long time. Thank you. Hit the subscribe, hit the like, subscribe to the channel, and my Rumble audience. You guys are the best, man. And the outlet Rumble is so helpful to me. So again, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and follow us and we're grateful for you. You can find me anywhere at grantstinchfield.com as well. So President Trump is such a gracious guy. You know, he dispatched the full force of the federal government to help Savannah Guthrie and her family find her mother. Now, remember, she's the co-host of the Today Show. The Today Show is awful to President Trump. And I would offer up Savannah Guthrie was awful to President Trump. But President Trump puts all that aside. President Trump says, no, this is a family. It's in need. And I hope people on the left understand that President Trump wants the best for everyone, including his political foes. Let me give you an example of what he was up against with Savannah Guthrie, okay? Now, this is going back a little bit, but I promise you President Trump had not forgotten about this.
Conspiracy theory. Why not just say it's crazy and not true?
He may be right. I just don't know about QAnon.
You do know.
I don't know. No, I don't know. I don't know.
Let me ask you another thing.
Let's waste a whole show. You start off with white supremacy. I denounce it. You start off with something else. Let's go. Keep asking me these questions.
I do have one more.
Let me just tell you, what I do hear about it is they are very strongly against pedophilia. And I agree with that. I mean, I do agree with that, and I agree with it.
But there's not a satanic pedophile cult.
No idea. I know nothing
You don't know that? Okay.
No, I don't know that.
This
neither
week.
do you know that.
Okay, just this week
Why aren't
retweeted.
you asking me about Antifa? Why aren't you asking me about the radical left?
Because you're
Why
volunteering
aren't you asking Joe Biden questions about why doesn't he condemn Antifa? Why does he say it doesn't exist?
Because you're here before me.
No, she's so cute.
Unbelievable. So President Trump puts that aside. QAnon, Pizzagate. She's trying to make him look like a Looney Tune, okay? And President Trump is no Looney Tune. And we know that though the Pizzagate out of that pizza shop has been debunked, there is no basement there. But the idea of child predators and sex trafficking is still very, very real, okay? QAnon, I've talked about my thoughts on all of that. I do believe it was an operation, a PSYOP operation. But it served a purpose. It opened people's minds to the deep state, man. It really did. And I do believe it was a PSYOP, and I think it's well established that it was. But it served its purpose. But she wants to make President Trump out to be a Looney Tune, out to be some crazy man. This is because he's running for election. And think about this. He went on MSNBC to do this town hall with her. So he gets attacked there. And what happens? President Trump puts it aside because he sees a family in need. And he helps the family. He helps the Guthries. I promise you, when President Trump says, I'm praying for them, I promise you he is. I know this man personally. And I've gotten to spend some time with him. Not as much time as others, but a lot more than most. And this guy is serious about his will to help other people. And so I wanted to play that for you because the mainstream media forgets to talk about all of that. And it's sad that they forget to talk about all of that. But it is an important distinction in this. So with that, we'll keep an eye on the Savannah Guthrie case or the case of Savannah Guthrie's mother. I'm going to have Sheriff Mark Lamb on the Real America's Voice show tonight. You know, he was the former sheriff of Pinal County, which is very close to Pima County. I'm sure he knows the sheriff. It'll be interesting to hear his thoughts on all of this. I'm going to tell you right now that there's no way this is cartel-based. It just doesn't set up. The cartels don't operate like this. It would have been much more direct of how they want the money. There would have been proof of life already given. She'd be in Mexico, and the proof of life would have shown she's in Mexico, and it would have been set up for her to be returned. But there's been none of that here, which tells me the ransom is a misdirection. In my humble opinion. We shall see how it all plays out. All right, have you been watching the Olympics? I'm not going to, I can talk a little bit about the Super Bowl, but I don't know what it is about leftists taking over sports. I was going to stay away from the Super Bowl because I'm sure everybody is talking about the Super Bowl today. What I really wanted to talk about was the Olympics and these athletes that trash America. They put a flag on their chest or their back or their shoulder, and they get to compete at the highest levels under the banner of the United States flag. And they trash America. America, a country where we're literally paying for them to be there. We're funding their life's goals to succeed at this level. And they want to trash this country, trash President Trump. It's a disgrace. Quite frankly, they ought to leave, okay? And if I was the coach of the ski team or the figure skating, I'd say, I'm sorry, you're done. Sideline, go home and be finished with them. Now, I'm going to play you some clips of what I'm talking about when it comes to these folks. But before I do, let me quickly tell you about my friends over at VRAinsider.com. If you're ready to crush the market and transform your portfolio to get returns of an average of 35%, 50% in 2024, 35% in 2025, it's amazing what VRA Insider does. They say we are set up for the bull market of all bull markets. Very simple system. They have their 10-bagger system. They pick 10 stocks, and you just follow it, and they email you every day where your portfolio should be positioned, and you get these returns. I have started taking part in the VRA system. This is Vertical Research Advisory. Kip Harridge, he's the CEO. You'll see him on Fox Business all the time. Great guy. Crush the market. Do what I did. Sign up for this newsletter right now. 2-week trial for Stinchfield's Army members. VRAinsider.com. You got nothing to lose. Try it for 2 weeks. Tell me you don't like the picks and how it works, and then you're going to want to sign up and get with Kip and start crushing it, man. Crush the market with VRAinsider.com. That's VRAinsider.com. All right, what should I do? Because poor Lindsey Vonn crashed, and I guess she's in stable condition and doing better. She's proud to be an American. She did everything she could do to get back on the mountain and compete in her last Olympics, and she had the horrible, awful crash. And then you got these a-holes around her that say things like this.
I feel heartbroken about what's happened in the United States when, I'm pretty sure you're referencing ICE and some of the protests and things like that.
Oh, really? Chris Lillis? Chris Lillis is a USA freestyle skier. You're heartbroken? Are you not heartbroken for Rachel Morin? Are you not heartbroken for the Angel families that have lost loved ones killed by illegal aliens, whether a drunk driver or a deranged murderer, rapist? Come on, man.
I think that as a country, we need to focus on respecting everybody's rights and making sure that we're treating our citizens as well as anybody with love and respect.
They're not citizens. Do you not understand that? They're not citizens. They don't get the same treatment that American citizens do. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to go out there and treat anybody like animals. But if you're a citizen, it's one thing. If you're illegal, whether you committed a crime or not, you have to go. You have to come here the right way. If we don't do that, we will never be a country with borders. We will never be a sovereign nation, and the infiltration will always continue. But he feels sorry for them. Think about the American citizens that have been put out of work. I would say forget about the ones murdered. I don't ever want to forget about them. Put the ones murdered aside. Not that I ever want to do that either. But what about the people that lost jobs because of this? What about the people that pay insurance premiums so high because we've got to figure out how to pay for illegal aliens? Your property tax bill. The reason it keeps going up is because county hospitals take care of illegal aliens, and you got to pay to fund those county hospitals, and they're not paying for their own health care. Yet Chris Lillis thinks, I feel sorry for them and what's going on in America. Dude, you're an idiot, man.
And I hope that when people look at athletes compete in the Olympics, they realize that that's the America that we're trying to represent.
It brings up mixed emotions to represent the U.S. right now, I think.
It brings up mixed emotions to represent America. You know what? I'm sure you're a great athlete, Hunter Hess, another freestyle skier. But your brain cells are gone, dude. I don't know where you're from. Maybe you've been skiing in the mountains too long of Colorado.
It's a little hard. There's obviously a lot going on that I'm not the biggest fan of, and I think a lot of people aren't. If it aligns with my moral values, I feel like I'm representing it. Just because I'm wearing the flag doesn't mean I represent everything that's going on in the U.S. So yeah, I just kind of want to do it for my friends and my family and the people that support me getting here.
Yeah, the people that support you getting here is me and everybody watching, all of you out there. Plenty of taxpayer dollars go to support his career. Now, his family, I'm sure, spent a lot of money on his skiing. But you're going to tell me that you don't represent America? And the fact that ICE agents are going out and putting their lives on the line to enforce the laws on the books, you're going to tell me that that's not the America you represent? Then go home. That kind of talk is not helpful. I honestly don't think they should be talking about any of this stuff. And I say that hypocritically because if they come out and talk about how great Trump is, I'd probably be playing this, telling you how bold they are. But quite frankly, if I had my choice, these athletes, that's a good name for them, actually. Here I was, I slurred my words and called them athletes. These athletes, I love it because that's what they are. These athletes don't know what they're talking about. So if I had my choice, just talk about sports. Don't be pro-Trump. Don't be pro-Biden. Don't be anti-Biden. Don't be anti-Trump. Don't be anti-ICE. Don't be pro. Just talk about how great America is, how proud you are to wear the flag on your shoulder, how thankful you are to the American taxpayer for putting you in a position to go to Milan, Italy, and ski down a mountain and win medals. That's it. Beyond that, if you're going to slam what amounts to 50% of the country, I will give you a big ugats. I will. Now, he's not alone. And that's the worst part of all of this is there are others out there. Amber Glenn. Amber Glenn is also a skier.
Yeah, it's been a hard time for the community overall under this administration. It isn't the first time that we've had to come together as a community and try and fight for our human rights. And now, especially, it's not just affecting the queer community, but many other communities. And I think that...
Hold on a second, Amber Glenn. Tell me where President Trump has somehow squashed the rights of the, quote, queer community. Where? Because he doesn't want young boys chopping their nuts off or young girls chopping their breasts off. That's trampling on the rights of the, quote, queer community. He's talking about minors. As an adult, you can go do whatever you want. If you want to be crazy enough and dumb enough to mutilate your body to pretend to be a sex that you're not, you have at it if you're an adult. But if you're a child, I'm going to do my best to protect you from animals that think that's a good idea. Now, is that what you're talking about? Because beyond that, you tell me where President Trump has somehow trampled the rights of gay and lesbians. Amber Glenn, he hasn't. You're buying into the propaganda of the left that somehow President Trump is evil to everybody. He's not.
That we are able to support each other in a way that we didn't have to before, and because of that, it's made us a lot stronger. I hope I can use my platform and my voice throughout these games to try and encourage people to stay strong in these hard times. I know that a lot of people say, you're just an athlete, like stick to your job, shut up about politics, but politics...
Oh, hold on a second. Who was one of the guys that said that, Amber Glenn? The only reason why I tell you to stick to politics is not just because I disagree with you, but because I think you're dumb. I really do. I think you're uninformed, and I think you're ignorant. And I think you're one of the blind liberal zombies out there that literally just follow your Democrat leaders without any care in the world for the facts. That's why I tell you to shut up.
It's affect us all. It is something that I will not just be quiet about because it is something that affects us in our everyday lives. So, of course, there are things that I disagree with, but as a community, we are strong and we support each other, and brighter days are ahead of us.
Okay. Brighter days are ahead of all of us, by the way. One, because we're getting illegal immigration under control. Two, because our enemies overseas are now scared of America. Three, President Trump's tariffs and his financial policies have set America on a rocket ship to success. We're seeing the stock market booming. 401ks are through the roof right now. The economy has taken off. Inflation has literally been brought down to, I would say, manageable, but that's not a good enough term. Inflation is not an issue right now. Everything is getting more affordable. Rents have come down. The price of groceries have come down. What more do you want, Amber Glenn? You tell me. Because I don't know what else President Trump can do for you right now. You're skiing in Milan on the taxpayer's dime. I wish I could do that. I can't ski like Amber Glenn can. I'm not even thinking about that I could. But know your place and be grateful. Show some freaking gratitude, man. They don't have it in them. Then there's Michaela Schifrin. I don't know who this woman is. She's a skater, I believe. And I think she's a medalist too. Why do I torture myself with this? But I want you to see the graciousness of us as taxpayers to send these people over there. I mean, Glenn ought to be just cut from the team and sent back here. So should this Schifrin person. And you say free speech and all this stuff, but it's not free speech. When you're on the dime of the American taxpayer, okay, you're working for us. Just as, I'll give you a great example. At Real America's Voice, if I started to support Democrats and push policies that were wacky, radical leftist policies, well, I have free speech, but I don't have a right to do it on that platform. It's not my platform. Just as you have free speech, Michaela, but you don't have a right to do this while you're representing the United States. And the United States ought to say, hey, you know what? Shut your trap. While we're here, we'll speak highly of the country that is paying for us to be here. And if you want to go talk badly about the country, do it when you get home on your own time.
I think there's a lot of hardship in the world, globally. And there's a lot of heartbreak. There's a lot of violence. It can be tough to reconcile that when you're also competing for medals in an Olympic event. I actually have some thoughts. I can read something that I had written, if you guys don't mind.
Oh boy. Are you ready for this? Do I dare do it?
Go ahead. So last night at the opening ceremonies, Charlize Theron, she had quoted Nelson Mandela. And I don't have the quote off the top of my mind because I'm not brilliant. Peace is not just the absence of conflict. Peace is the creation of an environment where we can all flourish, regardless of race, color, creed, religion, gender, class, caste, or any other social markers of difference. And for me, as this relates to the Olympics, I'm really hoping to show up and represent my own values of inclusivity, values of diversity and kindness and sharing, tenacity, work ethic, showing up with my team every single day, like I said before, the values that we bring and put out on the mountain and on the hill every single day. I'm hoping to represent those who have been supporting me this entire time. And I'm really thankful to be here. And my greatest hope for this Olympic Games, from a broader perspective, is that it is a beautiful show of cooperation and of competition.
She did it in a gentler way, but she's still doing the same thing the rest of them are doing. My hope is that they can take a page out of Lindsey Vaughn's book. This is how you this is how you answer the questions about America.
It's a privilege to represent your country, and the Olympics are the largest stage in the world, the largest sporting event in the world. To walk out into the opening ceremonies with your fellow teammates is such an honor, and I always feel incredibly lucky that I'm even able to compete at that level. So I definitely don't take it for granted, and I'm going to enjoy my last Olympics as much as I possibly can.
Well, what a gracious, smart answer from somebody who also knows she's going to get a lot of endorsement deals, and, you know, Republicans buy sneakers too, as Michael Jordan said. But I think she also means it, which is why I like her. And you know what? I'm so sorry that she crashed, and I wish she would have had the success that I think she deserved in the Olympics. I really do. Hey, real quick, folks, my friends over at Energized Health, I'll tell you, if you want to take your life back, you got to get on the Energized Health protocol. I lost 15 pounds in 2 weeks doing this. This is about getting hydrated at a cellular level, but it's more than just losing weight. It's about mental clarity. It's about joint pain going away. It's about rejuvenating your entire body through cellular hydration. The idea that you get your cells hydrated at a cellular level. And this is a scientific, proven method as to how to infuse those cells in your body, basically with water, with hydration. It's not just about pounding water. Energized Health can help you with this. The success of Energized Health, 90-something% success rate. They've got a money-back guarantee. Go watch the masterclass at energizedhealth.com. That's energizedhealth.com. And then book a call for yourself. You will not regret it. Energizedhealth.com. Again, it changed my life. 15 pounds in 2 weeks, and I've kept it off. 88-day protocol. Book that call after you watch that masterclass at energizedhealth.com. All right, for fun, I thought I would play my body language segment from Real America's Voice on Friday, because we did some interesting stuff. So Greg Hartley, readbodylanguage.com. He's a former military interrogator. He comes on every Friday. If you're not familiar with the Real America's Voice show, you should be. My producing crew over there does such a fabulous job. Management team at RAV is fabulous. All of my coworkers who have shows there are it's the network of reason and freedom. And we do this every Friday night, so I thought I'd give you a little taste. And I'm glad I get to give you a taste while I got a big audience, both on YouTube and Rumble. So check it out.
Thanks, Grant. Always a pleasure.
All right. I wanted to play this for you last week, and we missed our segment, so I'm going to play it this week. Ilhan Omar, the infamous attack with the syringe that they sprayed like apple cider vinegar at her. Let's roll that and get you to comment.
Resign or face impeachment?
Resigning. All right, Greg, I had said, I don't know, this seems like maybe a setup. You see anything here?
Well, what you don't see is what's more important. In 1872, Darwin wrote a book called The Expression of Emotion in Humans and Animals. And one of the emotions that he talked about was surprise. It was universal across all cultures, so you can't take culture into account. And he said your eyebrows were arched, your eyes were wide open, and your jaw dropped. Any of those things show up in her face here? Do you see it?
Wow.
So for me, I don't see that, something is missing, and she doesn't shield herself. She doesn't say, what the hell is all over me? There's no panic. She goes out like it just looks awkward.
There's a close-up of her face, I believe, right before it happened. Anything here?
I don't see any surprise, fear, shock.
Yeah.
Any of those things I expect to see. And like I said, there's a guy, really famous guy named Kuklinski, who murdered people for a living, and he poured cyanide in drinks on people and killed them with it. Would you not panic if somebody sprayed you with something you don't know what it is? Never mind the smell and all that. I'm just saying, what do you do?
I promise you, I would. I play cards with a bunch of old guys. They spill their drink. I jump up off the table and I start getting all upset. I can only imagine a stranger. All right, let me move on to the next one. This is President Trump in this NBC interview he did this week. He was asked about this discombobulator weapon, which really seems pretty cool to just like discombobulate all electronics.
Yeah.
When they went in to get when they went in on that raid. Listen,
You saw this on the video. You could tell.
Tom, it discombobulated everything.
Nothing worked, even including humans.
Well, let's put it this way.
Out.
We lost no equipment in a very strong, and they're good fighters, great fighters. In a very bad environment, it was a military base, the biggest in South America. Because the house was in a base in South, in a very, very tough environment, we lost no men and we lost no equipment.
All right, Greg, I can't wait to hear you on this one.
This is one of my favorite Trump moves ever because look at him. He's animated much more than a guy his age you typically would expect. We talk about illustrators being the way you punctuate what you think. This is a classic Trump illustrator. He does this all the time. But when he starts talking about something coming from the sky, he does this. He illustrates with his whole body, looks up. When Tom starts to speak, he does a regulator. Remember I said that's where you control a conversation by saying, hold on, hold on. And then as he moves up, everything he does, that clearing the table move, it's all demonstrating what he saw. I'm almost positive he watched this play out because I see him doing up left eye accessing when he's describing how it worked. When he says nothing worked, including humans, you see Trump's eyes go back over there. And then his voice is more animated. He bounces a couple of times. This is excitement and energy at what he saw. It's beautiful.
Is it hard for you to read a guy like Trump where you see this same movement all the time? You know, it's something he does all the time.
Well, that's for him, though. That's baseline. It's what he does when he's just talking. And when he really gets to something important to him, he does change his hands and does structure. See that in a house on the base? Yeah. He's punctuating. Yeah. This is excitement for him, much different than what we see with the cymbal playing or whatever you want to call it, accordion.
There's no doubt about it in my mind. He is the commander-in-chief at heart, and he's so proud of all this technology and his man, and you can kind of see it there that he's proud of that. John Thune now. Boy, I've got some issues with him. He defends the SAVE Act, but then he's also telling us how we got a lot of work to do and we may not be able to get to it. Roll cut 4.
Taken a hard position that it's okay. Now, the law already prevents that, but if that's true, then why wouldn't we want to put into law something that would require when you go to vote that you prove you're a United States citizen? And that's all the SAVE Act does. And so, you know, they can cry and lament this actually being voted on.
Take it away, Greg.
Yeah, really good, clear alignment. Words, clear, consistent cadence, telling with a down tone as he talks. There's an uplift as he asks why, uses his hands and his face to illustrate telling the message. Low blink rate and great eye contact. This is him telling you what he's going to do. Looks good.
Okay. All right, let's play the next one.
I would just remind people that the coin in the realm in the Senate is floor time. There's a finite amount of it, and we have a lot of things we have to do. There's a housing bill that's awaiting action, hopefully a market structure bill, possibly permitting reform, farm bill, highway bill. You can go right down the list.
Greg, part of the thing that's hard for me with these segments is I try to hold back commentary because I want to talk body language. For everybody out there, none of it means anything unless we have a free, safe, and fair election. But back to body language. Greg,
well,
what do you see?
100% agree with you. Look, it has to be free, safe, and fair. And I agree with you there. Yeah. If we look at this, now you can see that something's changed. He's searching the floor for change, as I usually say, with his eyes. He's looking down left for the right words to say. There's some emotion. He anchors to other people around him as he mentions certain things. He's all over the place for the right words. This is something's going on behind the scenes. There's probably been discussion, as you well know this. You don't make your own decisions at some point in politics. You make decisions with other people. So it's probably he's been pushed to this point. And if you see there's his blink rate increases when he starts to talk about Russia approval, he raises his brow. Altogether different from the telling he was doing before. All this is probably likely to exactly how you feel, and he knows you're going to feel that way.
You know, it's amazing because when you say all these things, it makes so much sense about what I warned people about the deep state operating, these career bureaucrats. Who's behind it all that want to buck President Trump? And what, Greg, you uncover here on this is that somebody's putting pressure on it, and it's not coming from the White House here. Agreed?
Yeah, one of the most terrifying things I ever heard was when Baker stepped down as Bush's chief of staff, and they asked him, what did you learn? And he said, we don't need a president. The government would run itself. That's terrifying. That is absolutely terrifying.
100%. Government's bad enough. Much less bureaucrats totally running the helm without a guy like Trump running it. Greg Hartley, it's always great to see you. I'm going to tell people how they can find you And thanks for coming on. Here you go.
Real pleasure.
Remember, readbodylanguage.com. That's readbodylanguage.com is his website. GrantStinchfield.com is my website. So great to have you along. Interesting crowd in YouTube today. I hope this is the start of something special over on that channel. Thank you for being here. Again, subscribe to the channel. A big thank you to Shelly, our captain. I know she's working hard on getting us followers on all these outlets, and I'm sure she's doing a great job. This is the fruits of her labor as well. Again, GrantStinchfield.com, GrantStinchfield.com. I'll see you on the Real America's Voice show tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Don't forget to check that out. Stinchfield's Army rolls because of all of you. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great day.